The history of Disney's worst attraction ever, Superstar Limo. I don't know that one. Oh, because this was California. Yeah, I never rode this.
So, I think it's fantastic.
Mr.
Scary
Eisner?
stuff?
Hi,
Sure.
Michael.
Oh, certainly,
Thanks for resub,
Mr.
Zed.
Eisner. Sorry to disturb you, but I'm delivering to you Mr. Barry Bostwick and Mr. Richard Kind. If you'll just sign for them.
Really?
Yeah, right on there. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Hey, Michael.
Richard.
Hi, Michael.
Barry.
Michael!
Yeah, we were told to meet the Big Cheese at the Disneyland Resort.
The big cheese. I'm not the big. I wish I was the big cheese. This is the big cheese.
Oh my god!
Gee, I've been
Mickey!
looking for you all day. Well, I want to give you a personal tour of Disney's California Adventure. Ooh, what do you say we start with a ride on California Screamin'?
So, Mickey.
Yeah, this looks like
it's just
shit.
You and me, and I love that ride.
Thanks to
and I
5 gift
wanna
subs,
go on it
ironic,
with
and
you.
resub 2.
Okay, boss.
And Avery.
Okay, boss. And you know, Mickey, I think this is the beginning.
Sounds
of a
good,
beautiful
monkey.
theme park.
You betcha.
It wasn't. And now the story of a company in panic, and the one CEO who just couldn't seem to catch a break.
So was Michael Eisner like the worst CEO
It
of
is
Disney ever?
Defunctland.
Like, this guy seems to fucking suck. He can't get anything right.
On July 17th, 1955,
These are
Disneyland
two
opened
gift
its
subs, Storm.
gates to the public, and along with
Vince
elaborate
Leon.
theming, it had an expansive, magical parking lot. Due to its placement in Anaheim, Disneyland's land was
Oh, I
far
know all
from
about that,
sprawling.
G-Rant,
This
yeah.
made the parking lot prime real estate for any kind of expansion, including a potential second gate. While a variety of concepts for a second park were proposed over the years, it wouldn't be until 1982
Exit
that
Tier
the
1
Walt Disney
Sonic
Company would
Lewis.
seriously begin to consider it. On October 1st of that year, Epcot Center in Orlando, Florida's Walt Disney World opened. This created the Walt Disney World Resort as it is known today, and it made a multi-day vacation to the resort necessary if guests were going to explore all of the offerings. 2 years later in 1984, it was
Take it
becoming
easy,
increasingly
Queen.
clear that despite
Thanks
Epcot's
to resub
success,
8-track.
Disney as a company was not doing well. A string of box office failures from their studio and big budget projects for the parks had brought Disney to the lowest point in the company's history.
The fuck is
and
Splash?
many feared a takeover. In a bold move by the company,
Oh,
then
wait.
CEO and President Ron Miller, then by the company.
Hold on. Is this the, Yeah, hey, wait, I know Splash. When I was a kid, there's a scene in Splash where the mermaid has her titties out, and you can see side boob. I used to pause that scene occasionally. It wasn't my go-to movie, but I used to watch that occasionally to look at titties when I was a young man. Fuck yeah, I didn't know that was a Disney movie. That's Tom Hanks, baby. Let me type, I'll just type it in Splash titty scene, maybe? Splash titty? Nope, that, whoa, wow. I don't know what I was thinking with that. I don't know if I can find the scene, but yeah, it's a classic. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Takeover.
Had no idea
In a
that was
bold move
Disney.
by the company, then CEO and President Ron Miller was ousted, and Michael Eisner was brought in as the company's
Thanks
new
to Tier
CEO.
1
Eisner had big plans
Mia's
for the
Lost
company.
and the Tier
The
1
most notable of
Optimus,
which were to
Spike,
turn the company's failing studios
Resub
around,
Nick, maybe
make the
not
existing Disney
Vibe
parks
Baby
more
and
appealing to
8-track.
older audiences, expand
I
internationally
don't know what that
with
is,
the addition
McNaughty.
of a European park, and finally make Anaheim a multi-day resort with the addition of a second gate. In 1987, the Walt Disney Company acquired the Rather
Thanks for the
Corporation.
resub, Greg.
Decades earlier in the mid-1950s, Walt Disney had asked oil tycoon and television producer Jack Rather to build the Disneyland Hotel, since Disney lacked the funds, having spent most of his money constructing Disneyland. Since then and up until Disney's acquisition in 1987, the Rather Corporation had owned the Disneyland Hotel and property near the theme park. The obvious next step
Thanks
after
for resub,
obtaining the
McNeil
necessary
and
assets was
Greg.
to finally build a
By the
second
way, I
theme
popped up
park in
twice.
the Disneyland Resort. And it might have been that
Resub,
simple,
Mattman.
had Eisner not gotten distracted. Apart from the Disneyland Hotel, the Rather Corporation also owned the RMS Queen Mary, a retired ocean liner that was permanently docked in Long Beach, California. After Disney acquired the Rather Corporation, Eisner became interested in transforming the Queen Mary and surrounding land into a new resort called Port Disney. Port Disney was to
Wow,
feature
very
hotels,
ambitious.
a cruise ship dock, and an all-new ocean-themed amusement park called Disney Sea. Eisner pitted the cities of Anaheim and Long Beach against one another, trying to decide whether to build Disney Sea as
Holy
the second
shit.
gate to the Disneyland Resort or build it in Long Beach within Port.
Imagine if he
The
actually
announcement was
made
in
that.
January of 1990. and Anaheim and Long
What
Beach both
the
worked with
fuck?
Disney
That
in
looks
order to bring a new
nuts.
theme park to their city. However, the citizens of both cities were not.
This man was straight building
citing the
Atlantis.
issues the residential neighborhoods of Anaheim already faced due to the existing park. This, along with a variety of other legal, logistical, and budgetary issues, caused Eisner to announce in late 1991 that plans for Port Disney and Disney Sea had been scrapped in favor of an alternative idea that the
Thanks to
Imagineers
Prime
had
B-Star and
developed.
resub
Due to the
villain
popularity
views
of
and the
Florida's
Gisub
Epcot,
Dorm.
Eisner and the Imagineers
Yeah, I
believed
watched
that
a
a
lot of
West
Tim
Coast
and Eric.
version of the park was the best idea for Disneyland's second gate. The park would have been almost identical to Epcot, with a few notable changes, such as a larger spaceship Earth, improved future world attractions, and a much different world showcase, including a steel dragon coaster in the Asia Pavilion and a boat cruise around the entire world. WestCOT was
For
announced
some
at the
reason,
same
raid
time as the
notifications aren't
cancellation
going
of
through.
Port
I really
Disney and
appreciate
Disney
the raid.
Sea
I'm
in
sorry, man.
1991. 1 year later, Euro Disneyland
I didn't
would
know.
open, which,
I've
for
been
a
at,
variety of
raid
reasons that are
notifications
too long
haven't
to
gone off the
discuss
last
here,
week or
failed
so.
horribly. The budget for the parks division was cut dramatically, and as ideas for WestCOT grew, it became clear that the company could not afford such an expansion. But Eisner did not give up on the Disneyland resort, and despite the issues, went forward with his plans for a second park. Eisner had a simple technique that he often used when he decided on new projects.
What
The
will lose
technique
us
is
the
known
most
as
money
jealousy.
quickest?
Whenever Eisner saw another
Classic
company
Eisner.
doing something successfully, he decided that Disney would do the same thing. Moreover, he would take the idea and do basically the same thing in basically the same place. For instance, after seeing the success of the amusement park zoo hybrid Busch Gardens Tampa in the early 90s, he greenlit Disney's Animal Kingdom. The park was just over an hour from Busch Gardens. After seeing the success of the Church Street Station nightclubs in Orlando, Florida, Eisner greenlit his own nightclubs in Pleasure
So this guy
Island
was just
at the Disneyland
plagiarized.
Marketplace. Pleasure Island was
And
about
still
half an hour
couldn't
from
do it
Church Street
right.
Station. So when WestCOT was canceled and Disney returned to the
Fucking
drawing board,
Eisner.
it wouldn't be long until Eisner was presented with a new idea. Since the Disneyland Resort at the time provided
His
such a
whole
short
career was
distance
just
to
copying
vacationers,
homework
many of the guests
badly.
would go explore the other tourist offerings of California after their trip. Disneyland president Paul Pressler recognized this and pitched an
Thanks
idea
to
to
some
Eisner.
Noah and Draco.
If Disney could provide all the sights and attractions of the state of California within the Disneyland Resort, then guests would have no reason to leave and spend their money elsewhere. This concept would develop into the plans for California Adventure, a California-themed theme park to be located in the already California-themed California. Concept art for the park was released in
Who cares about
1990, a year
California
after
that
its
much?
was canceled.
If you want to
Release date
experience
of
California, just go
Adventure would
outside
feature
in
everything
California.
from soaring above Yosemite Valley to the glitz and glamour of Hollywood movie making. The original concept art from the park had a sense of serenity, and it seemed to be designed as an intimate, romantic tribute to California. In the Hollywood section of the park, there was to be a
Who needs a
recreation of
fucking
the
tribute to
the
California?
observation
What
deck
the
and former
fuck?
restaurant at the Los Angeles International Airport, which was being renovated by Walt Disney Imagineering around the time that California Adventure was in development. This was to be the show building to one of California Adventure's
Oh my god, this word is losing meaning. I've heard it so many
Superstar
fucking
Limo,
times.
a high-speed dark ride that would
Eisner
take
proposed the
guests on a wild
California,
paparazzi
Californiaception,
chase
California
through
in
the
California
As guests
Adventures,
boarded the
California,
attraction, They would be greeted by Michael Eisner himself. Eisner would tell guests that they had to get to the big premiere at Grauman's Chinese Theater as soon as possible to sign a contract for their next film. But he warned guests that the paparazzi were all over town, and if they were caught doing anything to ruin their image, then Eisner would have to cancel the deal. The limo driver would then floor it in an attempt to get guests to the movie premiere on time. According to Disney historian Jim Hill, the ride system would have been
Thanks
a
to Prime,
combination of a traditional
Nintendo,
dark ride
Wheatman,
and
the
a
resub
family-friendly
Luge, and
roller coaster.
Nasty.
The ride would have also included a variety of jokes and gags. For instance, guests would fly past the famous Tail of the Pup hot
Thanks,
dog
Valentine.
stand
We
with
actually
a
watched
large
all of
man in
Chains of Love.
rhinestones creating sounds of flatulence. But as guests turned the corner, it would become clear that this was actually Elvis Presley squirting mustard onto a hot dog. The ride ended with guests reaching the Chinese theater, only to have Eisner tell them that he would have to cancel the contract because they had been caught by the paparazzi. Then, a picture taken of guests while on the ride would be shown, cropped into a tabloid reporting on their limo chase. After this, guests would exit
Sounds
and
like
walk
shit.
the red carpet into the Chinese theater, which was the gift shop and exit to the attraction, where fake Oscars, on-ride
These two
photos,
gift
and
subs, butter.
t-shirts would have been
Resub
sold.
Jable.
The original concept of Superstar Limo was nothing groundbreaking, but it seemed that it would have been a fun dark ride that would have fit perfectly in the Hollywood section of the park. However, the mid-90s version of the attraction would not be the one that guests experienced when the park opened. And this time, it wasn't Eisner's fault.
I can't even believe that. Eisner paid him to say that.
In August of
This was
1997,
Eisner's fault.
in Paris, France, Diana, Princess of Wales, was killed in a limo accident. Her driver was
shit.
supposedly fleeing from paparazzi when he lost control of the wheel. The tragedy captured the attention of the entire world, who grieved the death of the princess and the other passengers. As for Eisner and his team, they now had a big problem. Superstar Limo could no longer be a high-speed paparazzi chase. because
Yeah.
It would now seem that it was some
Yeah.
sort of twisted reference to the tragedy. The Imagineers scrambled,
Eisner got
briefly
fucked on that
considering
one.
cloning a Disney MGM attraction to the Anaheim park. Top contenders were the Great Movie Ride, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, or Rock and Roller Coaster, which at the time was still in development. Of these, the Tower of Terror was probably considered to be the top contender, as Eisner was heavily pushing for the idea
Basically
of a
some
ride
Gumby and
hotel
Andy.
hybrid. On top of most everyone besides him thinking that this was a bad idea that logistically would be problematic, if not impossible, it was also clear that the budget for California Adventure would not allow for this, or any of the other potential attractions, which meant that the Hollywood section of the park would not have a ride on opening day. Or would it? Forced, whether by situation or executives, to write a treatment for an acceptable version of Superstar Limo,
Superstar
the Imagineers
Limo!
had a few solutions. 1. Remove most of the references to paparazzi. 2. Remove any high-speed element by having the limos inch forward through the show building. And 3. Add more setting-specific jokes and gags.
Okay.
The idea wasn't good, and the Imagineers considered Superstar Limo to be dead. Unfortunately, if their job was to please the boss, they had done it a little too well. Eisner, who had been in the entertainment industry for decades, adored the inside jokes and Hollywood gags.
Jesus
He loved them
Christ,
so much that he
Eisner.
greenlit the new, terrible version of the attraction. Imagineering, most likely baffled at what they now had to do, did their best to make the attraction work. This included scrapping the Chinese theater gift shop, and adding the theater as a show scene in the ride in order to fill time. After budgets were slashed even more, the theme-building exterior was scrapped in favor of a cartoonish cutout look. This art style was
As we said,
also
puppy
used
lover.
within the ride itself. The only three-dimensional animated figures would be that of celebrities. But due to the lack of
Oh,
budget,
hey!
these would have to be
That-
celebrities
who was
whose
that, Jared
likenesses were
Fogle? Who the
cheap,
fuck
or
just
stars
popped
that
out
the Walt
there?
Disney Company already had contracts with. Also, these were not animatronics, but barely animated figures with minimal, unconvincing movement. At some point,
Who was
Eisner
that?
realized that
That's
the ride
Regis?
was going to be bad. So he made a few quick changes to save face. First, he removed a reference to DreamWorks animation that read
Maybe Tier 1
DreamWorks
Voorhees and the
Animation,
resub
which
got me.
referenced the ongoing feud between former president of Walt Disney Studios Jeffrey Katzenberg, who now worked for DreamWorks, and Eisner. Also, Eisner asked Imagineering to remove him from the ride, and the on-ride footage was replaced with a sleazy Hollywood agent barking orders at guests, proving that Superstar Limo foreshadowed more than one catastrophe. The retooled ride opened with California Adventure on February 8th, 2001. So was it as bad as they thought it would be? Yes. Yes, it was.
I want to see it. Let's fucking ride it, baby. Get me on there with a GoPro. Let's
Here
go.
and around Hollywood Boulevard, there's lots of fun
Thanks to
and
the Prime Red
interesting
Man and
places to
Resub
eat
Win.
and shop, all geared to bring out the Hollywood
Richie.
in everyone. And if you've ever wanted to be a star, then you have to ride Superstar Limo.
I bet he did not want to say any of that.
From the moment you board your limo at LAX and journey through Malibu, Beverly Hills, Bel Air, and Hollywood, you are Hollywood's newest sensation. Hey, enjoy your 15 minutes of fame, babe.
Woohoo!
The cartoon cutout exterior of Superstar Limo features a variety of landmarks from Los Angeles, such as Union Station, City Hall, and the Beverly Hills Hotel. One section features the world's
Is
shortest
Charlie
railway,
even human?
Los Angeles'
Nah, I'm a
Angels
level above
Falls.
human.
The
I'm a
railway,
gamer.
which was constructed in 1901, had recently reopened, but an accident resulted in the death of a passenger on February
Thanks,
1st,
Amy. What do you mean
2001,
5 out of 10?
Exactly 1 week before California Adventure and Superstar
Gotta change
Limo
that scale.
reopened. However, the prominent reference on the queue's exterior would not be removed. Another interesting feature was the flower bed that was decorated to look like a pool. After making their way into the queue, guests would find themselves in the baggage claim area in the LAX airport. The inside jokes to California and the entertainment industry would begin with a female announcer giving instructions to arriving passengers.
Try not to fall asleep on the ride. That's the only rule.
No schmoozing.
Oh, hey, that was the only rule.
Guests
Fuck
would
yeah.
encounter
Good
television
guess.
screens
I'm a
and
genius.
An entertainment news report featuring a horrifying puppet version
Thanks
of
to
the
Prime
late Joe
Cream.
Rivers. Rivers would describe Hollywood's next biggest star, who was set to arrive at LAX that day. The star turns out to be the guest entering the ride. In this queue area, there were more cartoon cutouts that helped foreshadow what a terrible experience guests were about to have. One example of this was a baggage carousel with packaged Oscars. After guests winded their way through the queue, they would approach the ground transportation section of the airport and board their limo, a sparkly, purple, cartoonish limo.
Hey, that
The
looks
cast
pretty
member
cool if you
guides them
ask
to their
me.
Cars and tells them to enjoy their premiere.
That's a
Guests
solid
are then
whip.
sent on their way into their
This is
soon-to-be
fucking
remodeled
drifting around
An
corners.
announcer tells them to keep their hands, feet, and egos in the limo at all times. Ha! The limo enters a dark tunnel.
Hey, don't be
and
mean to the
guest
ride.
limo
What the
appears
fuck?
on the
It's not
screen
their
attached
fault.
to
They
the
didn't want to
ride's
do it.
vehicle. Despite being a creepy, gross puppet, this turned out to be the most realistic part of the ride.
Now don't be late, babe.
The first showroom is Beverly Hills, and Regis Philbin pops out
Thanks
of
to
the door,
Prime Manhattan,
fanning himself
Cringe
with
Burger,
money.
and
Next up,
Bugley.
Melanie Griffith with Antonio Banderas,
And Chase.
then immediately following, Cindy Crawford. And this is just the beginning. The next show scene is the Sunset
Pretty cool.
Strip. Here, guests get to see Tim Allen and Jackie Chan.
Tim
After this, guests
Allen!
enter a second tunnel
And
are
Jackie
reminded by
Chan,
their agents
yeah!
to not be late. The third show scene is Bel Air, where guests can see Drew Carey with a handful of star maps. Guests also run into sponsors trying to get them to sign advertising deals. A third tunnel features another reminder from their agent before the Malibu show scene. Here, guests encounter Cher, standing in the corner of the scene as if she doesn't want to be there. The limo then enters the studio lots.
This
where
looks
guests encounter
awesome.
Paparazzi, screenwriters, and production assistants, all represented through cheap cutouts. After this, guests arrive for their premiere, where none other than Whoopi Goldberg greets them. Guests are shown an on-ride photo of themselves before entering the final tunnel, where their agent tells them that they are a superstar. And
I
that
see
was
some Zell
Superstar Limo.
and Hookins. I don't know why he called it the worst attraction ever. That shit looked fucking awesome.
We go over to Superstar Limo.
Yeah.
You know
why?
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 Because I'm on it.
Excellent.
That's right, because we're here at California Adventures, right next to Disneyland.
Exactly, located right next to Disney.
I've always wanted to see Tim Allen.
The picture of me at Superstar Limo looks exactly like you. Just can't believe it.
Really? It's
It's like a photograph.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Now, this is not a scary fast ride, right?
No. This is just like a.
You don't get it. You can't just experience it with a video. You have to be in there and feel the hydraulics and the adrenaline of like being in the car as it slowly drives through. It's not the same with just a video.
This is a really easy ride to go on.
Yeah? Okay.
JCC in sync. Woo! Let's fucking get it.
Wow. There's Regis Philbin. And that's my final answer.
See?
If it isn't vivacious Melanie Griffith and dashing Antonio Banderas. Wow. And there's
Yeah, I just need to smell Tim Allen coming up. Yeah.
Cindy Crawford.
That's why you gotta be on the ride.
There's Tim Allen.
Open your sides, everyone. It's Funny Man Tim Allen. Come to Bel Air.
Look at that.
How about a map to your house, Drew Carey?
Isn't that Robert Zemeckis?
Hello, party. Hold your breath now.
Whoa! Look at how much fun Drew's having.
Why, the always entertaining Cher. Movie.
Wow, this is one hell of a ride.
Hollywood favorite, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, we're having fun.
There might be no better way to illustrate the reaction the public had to the ride than the on-ride photos. It is no surprise that the ride was received negatively, with guests complaining
Can't
that they
imagine
waited
why.
a half hour to ride the cheap pop-up book. Superstar Limo was not the only issue. California Adventure as a whole was berated by the general public and critics alike.
But overall, the lines were so short at times out here.
I thought it was closed.
Exit Tier 1 Brad dude and the
concept was
resub,
bad,
the Prime
the execution
Corruptions.
was worse, and
Resub
Superstar
con.
Limo was unforgivable. It is no surprise that on January 11th, 2002,
I do kind of
less than a
Tibbs, I just
year
don't
after
watch
the
it
park
actively.
opened, Superstar Limo was closed. Management had no replacement in mind. They just realized that guests visiting California Adventure would be a lot happier if they never experienced the attraction. The building sat abandoned in the Hollywood Pictures backlot for 4 years. Rumors circulated of various redressings that the ride could undergo. Jim Hill reported that the Imagineers were considering retooling the ride into Goofy's Superstar Limo,
Why?
where Goofy would drive guests through Hollywood, and the C-list celebrities would be replaced with classic animated
C-list? You're calling
To pull this
Jackie
off,
Chan
Disney
and
would take
Tim
over
Allen
100 Disney
C-list?
figures that had been placed in Disney stores throughout the United
I
States.
mean, the ride
and
wasn't
move them
good,
into
but let's
the new
not
show
discredit
scenes.
them.
Another idea was to reopen the ride as is, and over the course of a few months, introduce animatronics of the Muppets cast at various points in the ride. These characters would be wearing hard hats and be actively renovating Superstar Limo as guests rode through it.
Oh,
The
that
Muppets would
sounds
also be
interesting,
commenting
Seaman.
on how horrible the
I'll put it on
current
another
version of the
tab.
ride was. The finished product after the transformation would be Miss Piggy's Superstar Limo. Of course, neither of these ideas happened, and the building continued to sit abandoned. It wouldn't be until after Eisner stepped down from CEO in 2005 that the Superstar Limo space would receive a new attraction. As the first step in what would become a $1.5 billion
Strixie.
expansion and
Yeah.
renovation to California Adventure, the new management team constructed the Pixar-themed dark ride, Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the rescue. The simple dark ride would take guests throughout the events of the first Monsters Inc. film, and it was set to open on January 23rd.
Looks like shit. Boo. Where's Tim
But that
Allen?
is not
Oh, wait.
the
Tim
end
Allen
of
actually does
Superstar
voice in
Limo's
this, doesn't he?
story. Oh no. The ride very much lives on.
It-
in the
Tim Allen is
absolute
in
worst
Monsters
way
Inc., isn't he?
possible. Since the Monsters Inc. dark ride was a quick fix.
No?
for the park,
Okay. Alright.
coming a year
Boo.
before
Fuck
the
this. No
major
Tim
expansion,
Allen.
It didn't have the budget to bulldoze the space and start over. Quite the opposite, really. In order to save money, the Imagineers decided to utilize as much of Superstar Limo as possible. This included retrofitting the cutout exterior with door designs, which actually matched the film's intro animation, repurposing the limos into Monstropolis taxis, reusing the track layout and some of the tunnel sequences, and there was one more thing. Oh yeah, they stripped the C-list celebrity figures and dressed them into various animatronics throughout the ride. Some of these zombatronics are more obvious than others, and the Drew Carey and Jackie Chan figures are especially easy to spot. But don't worry, most, if not every figure in the ride was reused in some way. While the new ride has received mixed reviews, and its inclusion of the previous attraction's assets is unsettling to say the least, it is a far better dark ride than Superstar Limo. While Disney might wish they could erase Superstar Limo from the memories of the unfortunate park guests that experienced it, it is still important to remember the ride and the other missteps of California Adventure. The story is a good reminder that even a company as big as Disney can still get themselves into financial difficulty, creative gridlock, and even some pretty wacky situations.
That is pretty wacky.
Defunctland. Michael Eisner learns the differences between building a park in Tokyo and building a park in Paris.
God, the channel's so fucking good. Oh, it's so fucking good.
I'm busy for me.